Are sellers still in control of the market? If you've been watching the national news, you might think the answer is a loud and confident yes. But if you've actually been out looking at homes here in Northern Kentucky, you might be thinking, I'm not so sure about that. So, which is it? Are we still in a seller's market or are things starting to tilt the other way? Well, the truth is, it depends. And today we're going to talk about why strategy matters more than ever, whether you're buying or selling right here in Northern Kentucky. First, let's talk about those big, bold national headlines. You know the ones: housing market still favoring sellers, or buyers finally getting relief. The problem is those headlines are talking about the entire country, and real estate is not a national sport. It's hyper local. What's happening in Phoenix or Miami or LA doesn't automatically mean that's what's happening right here in Fort Thomas, Union, Independence, or Florence. Real estate is local. It always has been and it always will be. I can't tell you how many times I've had someone call me and say, "So I heard the market is crashing," or "I heard homes are still selling in one day with 25 offers." And my response is usually the same: okay, but where? Because here in Northern Kentucky, we tend to be a little bit more like the tortoise in the tortoise and the hare story. We don't usually see the wild swings like they do on the East and West coasts. We see steady, measured movement. So, yes, nationally, you might hear that inventory is tight and sellers have the upper hand. But in certain neighborhoods here locally, we're seeing homes that are sitting a little longer than they did 2 or 3 years ago. We're seeing buyers regularly ask for inspections or asking for sellers to pay closing costs. We're even seeing some price reductions in certain price ranges. Now, that doesn't mean the sky is falling. It just means we're normalizing, and that's actually healthy. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. And this is something that the headlines never really talk about: price bands. Not every home is experiencing the same market conditions right now. If you're in that entry level price range, that first time home buyer sweet spot, there is still a strong demand. Buyers are watching those listings like hawks. And when a well priced home hits the market in that range, it can still sell very quickly. But as you move up in price, things shift. In higher price bands, buyers tend to be a little more cautious. They're taking their time. They're negotiating a little bit more. They might ask for concessions or repairs. So when someone asks me, are sellers still in control? My answer is usually, well, in which price range are you talking about? Because a $250,000 home and a $750,000 home are not playing the same game right now. If you're a seller, you need to know exactly where your home falls. You cannot price your home based on what your neighbor got in 2022. That was a totally different market. You also can't just tack on an extra $20,000 because you hope somebody will pay for it. Strategy matters, friends. That means looking at comparable sales, not just what's active, but what has actually closed in the past 6 months. It means understanding how long homes in different price ranges are sitting, and it means knowing how many competing properties you have out there in the market. And this is where local knowledge becomes so important. Now, I want to talk to sellers for a minute. Even if we're not in that wild multiple offer frenzy we saw before, you still have leverage. You just have to use it wisely. First impressions still matter, and they matter more than ever now. Curb appeal, cleanliness, minor repairs, those things aren't optional in a shifting market. Buyers have options now too. So if your home doesn't show well, that buyer's moving on to the next option. Pricing is your biggest lever. A properly priced home creates momentum. An overpriced home creates silence. And silence in real estate is not what you want. You also still have negotiation power, but it might look a little different. Instead of saying absolutely no inspections, maybe you offer a reasonable repair credit instead. Instead of digging in on every single dollar, maybe you negotiate on terms like closing dates or possession dates. Remember, it's not always just about the price. Other terms in the offer matter as well. Now, buyers, let me talk to you for a second. You may feel like sellers still have all the power, but that's not entirely true anymore either. You have more breathing room than you did a couple of years ago. You can often schedule a showing without feeling like you have to sprint to the house within 30 minutes and make an offer over list price as you're walking through the door. You can include inspection contingencies, and in some cases, you can even negotiate repairs or closing costs. But here's the key: you have to be prepared. The good homes, the ones that are well maintained, well priced, desirable homes, those ones, they're still flying off the shelves. If you drag your feet on those homes, somebody's going to come in and snap that up. So whether you're buying or selling, the theme right now is strategy over speed. This isn't the frantic market of the COVID years, thank goodness. It's also not a market where buyers have total control. It's a more balanced, nuanced environment, and that means you need a plan. You need to know your numbers. You need to understand your price band. You need to look at local data, not just national headlines. And you need to be realistic about where your home or your offer fits in today's market. Because here's the truth: markets shift. They always do. But opportunities exist in every market. If you're a seller, you can still sell successfully and often for a great price when you position your home correctly. And if you're a buyer, you may have more negotiating room than you think when you understand where you have leverage. So, are sellers still in control? In some segments, yes. In others, not so much. In most cases, it's a little bit of both. And that's why having a knowledgeable local guide matters so much. I would love to hear from you. If you've been watching the market here in Northern Kentucky, what are you seeing? Are homes flying off the shelves in your neighborhood? Do you feel like they're sitting a little bit longer? Have you noticed more price reductions? Drop your observations in the comments below. I'd love to have a chat with you about what you're seeing out there. And if you're thinking about buying or selling this year and you're not quite sure what strategy makes sense for you, reach out, text me. Let's sit down and look at your specific situation and build a plan that works for you. Because at the end of the day, knowledge is power, but strategy is your best friend. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on my next video.